Hello, I am Spirited Amanda. I hope you can hear me okay. For this video, I wanted to share a positive message, something that I've been looking into and researching, and I've written something. The way that I wrote it was for a speech. For an assignment that I had to do in a class that I've just finished. It just ended. But I really like this. And so I wanted to have a creative outlet and share what I've researched and make it kind of fun for myself and for my family. So I'm going to be reading some of it just straight onto the camera. Hopefully it's not too cringy. Bear with me. And so hopefully it comes out okay. Okay. There is a problem in today's society, and this problem affects you, me, it affects everything. This problem is so large and affects everything, yet it is overlooked by the great majority of people. Any guesses what it could be? It is a problem with the very minds of the individuals who make up today's society. Okay, I'm here to bring awareness to you about perception. The perception of an individual is of enormous importance for the most fundamental reason, which is that perception decides what exists and makes up reality. Whoa, metaphysical, isn't it? So I'm coming to you and telling you that there is a problem with people's perceptions, or rather, a problem of people's lack of awareness for their own perceptions. The brain is a fascinating mechanism, and the inner workings of a person's brain is remarkable. Undoubtedly, don't you think we should put conscious energy into overseeing our minds and making sure that the place from which we interpret sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste are being translated to truly match the insights of our highest selves? I don't know. To me, that seems kind of high on the list of priorities of responsibilities for adulting. A huge problem develops in the lives of individuals if they are not placing their awareness in perception. I mean, in an extreme case, it could really actually be considered a handicap if underdeveloped and left unchecked. Just to be clear, that also works in the other direction. If a person holds a strong awareness of this, then it is a highly useful skill, that which should be utilized. Let us understand that our perceptions can be affected by our beliefs, values, prejudices, expectations, and life experiences. And even the shared experiences of people within a society can manifest effects on the perceptions of the collective. Such examples can be seen like with the optical illusion called the Mueller-Lyer illusion, which is a geometric illusion in which two lines of equal lengths appear unequal, depending on whether some angular lines shaped like arrowheads at each line's end points either towards or away from each other. There was a multinational study that demonstrated individuals from Western cultures were more prone to experience certain types of visual illusions than individuals from non-Western cultures. So Europeans and Americans were the most vulnerable to the illusion because they have a perceptual framework of buildings with straight lines, in contrast to some people from some non-Western cultures who were in this study, who had an uncarpentered view of construction and were adapted to viewing buildings of a more round structure, such as huts arranged in circles. This example was just for fun, but it scales how culture can influence a shared perception. Consequently, I am inferring that to bring awareness to our perceptions, we must really try to understand the phenomenon that it is. So let's do that. Let's talk about what perception is and how it works on a basic level. To put it lamely, our sensory receptors are constantly collecting information from the environment, and ultimately, how we interpret that information affects how we interact with the world. Perception refers to the way sensory information is organized, interpreted, and consciously experienced. Okay, so think of it as a psychological process. And it not only creates our experience of the world around us, it allows us to act within our environment through the 5 senses, which are touch, sound, sight, smell, and taste. But not only that, it also involves the cognitive processes required to process information, such as recognizing the face of a friend or detecting a familiar scent. Not to mention things such as balance, time, body position, acceleration, and the perception of internal emotions. Social perception, which is the ability to identify and use social cues about people and relationships, is another important type of perception. So, the perception process begins with the environment of an individual and leads to our perception of the stimulus, then an action in response to the stimulus. It occurs continuously, but also acts as a filter that allows us to exist and interpret the world, helping us so that we may not become overstimulated. Now I want to talk about a few tips to help you as a solution in response of the problem I've outlined for you today. There are approaches that will help you perceive more in the world around you, or will at least help you to focus on things that are more important in any given scenario. These tips are also in order, so they're kind of like steps. Okay, the first is as fundamental as hand washing is in the event of a pandemic outbreak, and that is pay attention. Perception requires you to attend to the world around you, so be present and receptive. Also, reciprocate, which brings me to the next tip, being to make meaning out of what you perceive. Recognition is an essential part of perception because it enables you to make sense of your environment. And by doing this, you are able to understand and react appropriately. And that is my final tip. Taking proper action in response to your environmental stimulus enables you to interact in ways that are appropriate and meaningful. There is an ecological understanding of perception known as perception in action, which argues that perception is a necessary property of sentient action. It suggests that without perception, action would be unguided, and without action, perception would serve no purpose. You could say that the primary purpose of perception is to guide action and depth perception, which seems to have evolved not just to help us know the distances of other objects, but also to help us move around in space. With practice, people can learn to make more accurate perceptual distinctions. Wine tasting, the reading of X-ray images, and music appreciation are applications to this. Research shows that practices such as yoga, mindfulness, Tai Chi meditation, and other mind-body disciplines can modify human perception. These practices enable perception skills to switch from the external to a higher ability to focus on internal indications, which will boost a person's inner transcendence. In conclusion, the amount of times a person should use unbiased logic while receiving and perceiving the world around them should outweigh them using emotion. Let us work to become more aware of our brain mechanics and utilize it optimally. Choose reason over delusion. If you insert this habit into your life, it could encourage others around you to do the same. We all should be working in unison to better humankind. We all make up the collective, and it is our responsibility to add positivity to the collective and not negativity. Thank you.